Hey everybody, welcome back to another Fear the Walking Dead video. Today's video is going to be over the latest episode, the mid-season finale, All I See Is Red. This episode really took the crown as the best episode so far this season, with it only being the mid-season finale. I'm not sure when it's coming back, but previously King County was the best episode so far. But this one, it just had a little bit of everything. It had some shock, it had some kind of tugging at the heartstring kind of stuff, and had some teasing in there as well, and we'll definitely get into that because I really enjoyed this episode, and just with the teasing especially, just really kind of pointing back to where it all began, and really kind of giving some closure to some of Morgan's issues that he's had, because with this episode, as its title, All I See Is Red, we really dive into what Morgan really experiences as he's talked about it in the past, where he just sees red, he just kind of checks out and loses time and everything, and they really dive into that into this episode. Now, this whole episode is really about PADRE, the brother and sister, getting the coordinates to get the container shipyard and take these supplies and expand out PADRE, where they have predetermined places that their father had laid out that were geographically and just the best places that they could possibly expand and build onto PADRE and build other communities, and most importantly, continue on what they believe is the best way to go about taking these kids and training them and making it to where they never have to experience the pain of losing a parent. Well, that all comes crashing down this episode, and just, I really, really wanted bad things to happen to Shrike. They do, but at the same time, they make me feel bad about it, and that just kind of really irked me as far as this episode is concerned, because we saw how heartless she was and how mean and just awful of a person she could be, given that she forcibly had Finch, Dwight and Sherry's son, bit just to prove a point that she could do it, basically, that she can do what she wants. And so they have to take this experimental radiation treatment, which does prolong his life, and just not really giving any argument to why she should be spared or why she deserves any kind of ending other than what she gets. So kind of going to that, the whole episode is all about them, like I said, getting these coordinates, and Shrike is all about doing what is necessary. They've searched every aspect of PADRE that they think that these coordinates can have been hidden, but they come to realize that these coordinates are hidden in that special pair of binoculars that got their father killed in the first place, and the Walker version of their dad is still walking around with those binoculars and those coordinates. So they come to realize this, and this is after the shipyard has been cleared. Now Mo and the rest of the kid soldiers, I can't remember what the fuck they're called, but they successfully do this, but they don't do it in a way that's going to really help anybody, because they have to lead all these walkers away, and in the end they all just really get themselves kind of screwed over and kind of pinned, and they have to continue to lead them away to even keep themselves alive. And as Mo is leading this herd or whatever with the other kids, we get kind of a flashback to Morgan back at that train car. He has another red moment, as I'm going to call them, where he blacks out and he slaughters all the walkers that were coming to the train car at the end of the last episode, and in that almost actually kills Madison, because she makes her way back and actually kind of puts him on his ass, more or less, to keep him from killing her, because when he goes into this, that's his mindset. He has to kill everything around that is any kind of potential threat, whether it be walker or human, it doesn't matter. So the whole episode, Morgan is fighting this. He's fighting this urge and just these blackout moments where he loses time, and then he wakes up and people have left, or he's put in a position that he has to kind of figure out what happened, and he wakes up with blood on his hands and just complete blackout moments. While he's doing this, Mo is trying to get him to understand that she, more in some ways, does not want him around, getting him to understand that she is kind of better off without him in a sense, but it's really just her grieving over the loss of Grace, and Morgan will not accept this. He does not take this for an answer, even though during some points of the episode he kind of wants to leave her and everything because of his blackouts, and he's afraid that he's going to hurt her, and but he makes his way back to her, and they make their way back to the houseboat from the first couple of episodes. and they're in the same situation. The houseboat is surrounded by walkers as it's going down. Morgan's actually zip-tied within the boathouse to kind of keep Mo safe and everything. But as it's going down, Morgan gives her an air tank and she kind of swims her way out of there. And during all of this, with the child soldiers, we also have the army of parents that come in. And they're ready to throw down and do battle, but they're not going to kill these kids that could potentially be their own children. And so in the end, the kids kind of overtaken them, but as Shrike is giving these orders to pull the trigger and kill these parents, they can't do it. And it's here that Morgan has found his way back to land with Madison's help, and Shrike confronts them. And she knows that Morgan knows that her father's corpse has the coordinates and everything, because he actually calls her over the radio and says, your father that you've been looking for is right here. I have the coordinates and this is what you're going to do for me. But in the end, she sees this. She sees her father kind of crawl his way back up on the shoreline in this swampy area. This is after Morgan is safe and everything, but he as far as he knows, her father's walker corpse went down with the boat and everything, but he makes his way back up on the shore. She sees him, and she's just kind of thrown back in that moment to when he died and everything, and just probably overridden with guilt and every little bit of regret and everything, just the fact that he's gone. And she gets what's coming to her. She lets her walker father take her down, takes a chunk out of her neck. It was at this moment that I was, yes, finally, this bitch get what she deserves. But at the same time, god damn it, they made me feel bad about it because she looks so pathetic and everything when she's being gnawed on. Madison steps in and takes out her walker father, and she's laying there dying, and we see her kind of fade out, but she wakes up later, still infected and everything, but she's back at this train car, and they're going to do this experiment to kind of make her death as slow as possible for everything that she's done. And June's here, and then her brother, after the whole situation with the parents and the kids, he finds out about this because Morgan actually comes in and tells him that, this has happened to his sister, and that he's willing to let Mo go if this means that she's going to live and everything. But they decide to reconnect, and Shrike's brother makes his way to his sister in the final moments of her life. And between this conversation that June is having over the walkie with Dwight and Sherry, Finch is laying there dying. The treatment has failed. It had run its course and everything. And so Finch is on his deathbed, and Dwight was ready to let June give Shrike a slow and painful death. But to Finch's wishes, he does not want anybody to go through this, even Shrike, the person responsible for him dying. And Dwight respects those wishes and says make it quick and painless, but this is when Shrike's brother gets there, and June gives this responsibility to him as she's laying there dying. And so it's with this that PADRE, the way that we've seen it the last 6 episodes, has come to a halt. The way that they did things is no more because June and Madison and Morgan and everybody have put a stop to it. They did the thing that we all hoped they would do, come in and make it to where these kids that were kidnapped as children and brainwashed and everything and told that their parents abandoned them and whatever other lies Shrike came up with, that they had the chance to reconnect with their parents, some of them anyways. And that's kind of the main kind of storyline of this episode. And then it all kind of closes out with some very delightful throwbacks, actually, and some teasing that I can honestly say gave me the tingles. I was just like, this is what we've all been waiting for and everything. And without actually saying it, they tease it. But it's at the point where Finch has died and Dwight and Sherry are burying him that Dwight says maybe they should call it quits, that every decision they make together turns out badly, and Sherry reluctantly agrees, and it seems that they are actually going to part ways. Whether or not they actually do it, I don't know, but Sherry then kind of asks him, what do you plan to do then? And Dwight makes the tease that he might go home, he might go back home to Virginia, then just kind of says maybe, so we don't know whether or not he'll actually return. I hope he does, because I'm dying to see some reunions and see how it all plays out. Now, the big reunion teaser is at the end of the episode where Morgan and Madison are on this beach, and they have all these kids that have come around to their way of thinking and understanding that what Shrike and her brother did was wrong, and what they did is not how things are going to be run anymore. And they have all these supplies and everything on this ship, and from what they kind of express and everything, they have the coordinates, and they're going to follow through with the plans. They're going to reach out to other communities or just build other communities under the flag of PADRE, more or less. And here's where Morgan straight up says that he needs to go back to the people that he left when he first met Madison in Texas, that he needs to go home back to Alexandria. And just that right there just gets me all excited that maybe we will get the reunion that we want. And to further kind of push that theory, we get a little bit more towards the last moments of the episode where Morgan and Mo have made their way back closer to Alexandria. They are actually at the spots where Eastman trained him in the ways of staff fighting and everything, and really saving his mind and bringing him a sort of peace at the time where he was completely in that clear state of mind where he wanted to clear out anything that was walking, dead or alive. It was shortly after he lost Dwayne, so he was just really off his rocker, and we get introduced to Eastman, and he saves Morgan, but in the end, Morgan actually gets Eastman killed accidentally, and with all the walkers and everything that Eastman has slayed, he actually has a graveyard for all these people that have been killed or he has killed. And we have the whole backstory of Eastman, why he was out there in the first place when the world went to shit, and it's just a very depressing story, so you need to go back in Walking Dead and watch those episodes. But he goes through all the trouble of coming back to this graveyard to put Grace to rest. He wants to bury her here with his friend. And we just further confirm that Morgan is going back to Alexandria or the Virginia area where Hilltop is and Oceanside and all these other communities where he came from and what he fought for. And we get the scene that just really probably set off a lot of people in the best way possible. Morgan takes his walkie and does his thing and says that he's looking for Rick Grimes. And I will throw that scene up right now.
This message is for Rick Grimes. It's Morgan Jones. Man, I'm gonna come and look for you, whether you're at Alexandria or not. I will leave this message every morning at dawn, and I'll leave the walkie on for a few minutes after. Who knows? Maybe you might even be listening.
So that scene just... that was the scene that set off the episode and made it take top tier over King County. And I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be the shocker. And then they threw up this scene.
Mark, if you can hear this message, you're in a territory Padre once patrolled. Padre has fallen. They are no longer a threat to you or your children. If you lost a child, if you think they might have been taken, come to the following coordinates.
That was Alicia's arm. So what are they really teasing at here? Is Alicia alive? I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty at the end of the last season on whether or not she actually survived her sickness and everything. And there's been the theory this season that maybe she survived because of the radiation, or at least it prolonged her life. Now we're seeing this mystery person listen to this broadcast from Madison that Padre is down. They have gone under. And we see them packing in Alicia's homemade prosthetic that she made with her own bones and with the blade attached to it and all that. So it's definitely a good teasing way to end off the mid-season finale, and now we're left waiting probably a couple months or more. I'm not sure when they plan to air the rest of the season. But could this mean that Alicia is going to come back and be reunited with her mother? I mean, that would be a good, wholesome way to kind of end the series and everything. The survivors, the original survivors from the beginning of the show, come back and be reunited. Sans Nick and everything, because the actor didn't want to do it anymore, and that's why he left season 3. But it's definitely intriguing what they have planned for the rest of the season. It was a great episode, and I really hope the second half of the season we see some reunions. There's still the hope that we could get all these characters reunited back at Alexandria, which would be fucking awesome and the best way possible to close out all these shows. As far as Dead City, just watched it. Good show. And I don't know how many seasons they plan on doing of that and what their whole plan is to close out the Walking Dead universe as a whole, if they even plan to do that. But anyways, this episode, definitely best episode of the season so far. It toppled over King County, which was a little bit difficult to do because that was a great episode too. But this one, just with all the teasing and bringing hope to us fans that Rick and Morgan might actually be reunited too. So, great episode. If you enjoyed it too, tell me what you thought about it down below in the comments. Leave the likes for the video if you liked the video. And as always, if you feel so inclined, consider subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. It means a lot more than you realize. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.